Tonight on Best Bits, Davey Grant dismantled Adrian Luna Martinetti. Ryan Spann bonked Marcus Buchechka. And Aljamain Sterling makes it look easy against Yusuf Zalal. UFC Fight Night, Vegas, 116, more Apex Slop, but it was Aljamain Sterling versus Yusuf Zalal. We'll talk about it. It wasn't the most amazing card, in my opinion. I didn't think it was going to be particularly good going in, leading up to the card, and then I said so in the prediction video. And after the fact, I do not stand corrected. It was a rather boring card, to be honest with you. I think was there only two finishes on the entire card. We had a TKO and a Darce choke. Yeah, there was only two finishes on the entire card. Not to say that there weren't some good performances. Just a bit of a slow burn of a night with no real payoff, to be honest with you. Yeah, I was just keeping it real. That's what it was. There was nothing to this card. I'm fairly sure. In fact, you know what? I'm just gonna go and check. I'm just gonna go and check right now on the Tapology. So with last week, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 finishes on the card in totality. 6 finishes on the card. What can I say, man? What can I say? I was not the most entertaining of cards. It just wasn't. There was not a lot of entertainment value in Aljamain Sterling versus Yusuf Zalal, UFC Vegas, 116. There wasn't a lot of value in it. I'm just keeping it real. That's that. 2 finishes on the whole card. Pathetic. First fight of the night. Talita Alencar versus Julia Pilastri. Both really not that good. Even for women's division, both really not that good. Very shallow division, to be honest with you. Anyway, just not a lot going on there. And it was a pretty boring fight between the two of them, to be honest with you. Not much went down. Quite boring. Not a lot of entertaining moments, truly entertaining moments. Alencar did really well with the grappling. We did say in our prediction video that Alencar would have the advantage in the grappling, but we didn't think she'd do as well on the feet. And you know what? She did better than we expected on the feet, to be fair to her. To give some flowers out, I suppose. Alencar did better on the feet than we were expecting. She did better than we were expecting. I can't speak. But yeah, she did better on the feet than we initially thought she would. But really, it was the grappling, like we said, that edged out this fight for her. A few people had picked Pilastri by knockout, and I think that's crazy. And just like I said in the prediction video, like if we're gonna get a finish, it's gonna be an Alencar submission, but it's not gonna happen. And there we are. I said maybe the women will surprise me. Maybe they'll do a thing. They didn't. They didn't surprise me. They didn't do a thing. On to the next one. Victor Valenzuela versus Max Griffin. So I went with Victor Valenzuela for this one as well. Decent start to the night on the predictions. Pretty good there. We did have Valenzuela by knockout, unfortunately. We did say we were quite confident in that. And you know what? We were quite confident in it. We were going into this, we thought, yeah, aging Max Griffin against, young upcoming guy with some power, with some previous knockouts. And then I said, oh, Max Griffin has got a little bit of a chin, though, and he's a bit tricky. No, I think he can get it done. So I did pick Valenzuela to knock out Max Griffin, but we'll take a unanimous decision, I suppose, just for the statistics. So we did pick Valenzuela to win, but we did have him by knockout, unfortunately. Wasn't expecting the decision. Max Griffin hung in there. I did say he was tough to finish. I did think Valenzuela would have a little bit of a tough time actually getting him out. But I didn't think it would go to a decision, so Max Griffin exceeds my expectations. However, does not manage to scoop a victory from the jaws of defeat. I don't know. Why am I getting all philosophical with it? But yeah, Victor Valenzuela wins the fight. I think he could have done it better. I really do. I do feel he blew opportunities to finish Max Griffin. And that's not to say Max Griffin didn't hang tough and survive, and kind of get out of some bad situations and be quick back to his feet and whatnot. That's not like no disrespect to Max Griffin. What I'm saying is it was Victor Valenzuela's inexperience, you know, like a young lion who doesn't know how to get a kill yet, you know. That's what it was like. That's what it was like on the big stage, you know. Don't know why the lion's on the stage, but he is now. The next fight was Francis Marshall versus Lucas Brennan. Again, I thought this was going to end. I thought it was going to be a TKO or a submission for Francis Marshall. I really did. I really did. I had higher hopes for this card. I really did. I thought this card was going to be better than last week's, than previous card. What can we do, eh? What can we do? Yeah, Lucas Brennan, like we said in the prediction video, didn't stand a chance against Francis Marshall. It was dominant, in my opinion. I feel like Francis Marshall, again, threw away a bunch of opportunities to finish a fight. That was basically done. Like, more times than not in that fight, Lucas Brennan was just being like, okay, I'm just going to survive it. I'm just going to get to the bell. I'm just going to get to the bell. I'm just going to finish the fight. That's what it felt like from Lucas Brennan. There wasn't really, after a certain point, there wasn't really an attempt to change the tide. There wasn't an attempt to kind of flip the fight back on its head. And Francis Marshall just dominated in every position, in every single position. Too quick on the feet, too crafty on the feet, too diverse. Too diverse on the feet, too tricky on the feet, you know, mixing things up on the feet. Diverse range of strikes on the feet. And then when we were taking Brennan down, it was just, again, dominant. We were getting some good ground and pound in there too. So yeah, Francis Marshall gets it done. Again, we were expecting a finish. We were expecting a finish from Francis Fire Marshall over Lucas Brennan, who was a little bit of a sacrifice in this fight. Had no tools at all to really deal with Francis Marshall. Back to the drawing board for Lucas Brennan, in my opinion. Let's take some time out and reconsider what tools we have ourselves and how we can finish fights and whatnot. But yeah, Francis Marshall doesn't manage to get the finish. Lucas Brennan survives to the end of the fight. Still, you know what? I'll give it its due. It was rather entertaining seeing Francis Marshall dominate the fight from start to finish. However, we do want to, if you're dominating a fight, you should be able to finish the fight, and we didn't see that kind of that extra level of urgency. We didn't see that there's blood in the water, you know. Name's Bruce. There's blood in the water. Fish are friends, not food. It was the whole time for Francis Marshall. But yeah, no blood in the water. No jumping on it and trying really hard to get the finish, just being conservative. Maybe he was scared he would gas out. You don't know what was going on behind the scenes. But yeah, Francis Marshall just didn't really want to push that extra little bit just to get Lucas Brennan out of there. And you know, there was a couple of opportunities where it was close, but that's just how it be. Next up was Yafel Fijo versus Cody Durden. Now, we had Fijo for this fight. We picked Fijo to do this. We were saying, Durden's getting on a little bit now. Durden's an older dude. He's been around for a little while. Sure, he's got the experience, but I feel like his body's letting him down a little bit as of recently, and he's not the same guy. He's kind of just there as a name to build people off of, and kind of as a little stepping stone these days. A can to be crushed, if you will. Well, I was wrong, because Cody Durden actually put up one hell of a scrap, and you know what? Surprised me. Really did surprise me. I thought we were going to get like a Cody Durden, well, it's not really going my way. I'm just going to try and wait for an opportunity to win this fight, and the opportunity never comes because Cody Durden doesn't want to make the opportunity. He's more of a, I'm going to wait for an opportunity to come rather than I'm going to create one. And you know what? He didn't do that in this fight. He actually, he went forward, he pressed, he made opportunities. And you know what? He was better than Fijo everywhere. He really was. I was quite shocked to see Cody Durden. Maybe I just wasn't giving him enough credit. Maybe I was. I mean, what was his record going into this? It wasn't amazing. Can we, Mr. Durden? His record going in wasn't incredible. You see, we're coming off 4 losses back to back, and Yafel Fijo is not bad. Is not bad at all. Like, actually, not at all. Not even in the slightest. So it was interesting to see. I do believe. Let me just make sure I'm not chatting nonsense. So I did just go and check. I'm not gonna lie, because I wanted to make sure I wasn't a fool. on the internet. But yeah, so this was supposed to be happening in a flyweight, but it took place at bantamweight. Cody Durden coming in on short notice. I thought that was strange. I think I mentioned it in the prediction video that this fight was a bit of an odd one. But yeah, so this was not at the intended weight. Cody Durden was stepping in on short notice. So this took place at bantamweight. You know, still entertaining fight. That caveat to that is fair enough. Obviously, if Phil Ho has been preparing for a flyweight, and then sure he doesn't have to cut weight, but who knows what that kind of does. And you know what, Durden did run away with the fight. It was actually quite entertaining. It had entertainment value in the fact that we weren't expecting Durden to do that, especially on the short notice as well. Then, but yeah. So I suppose there's some entertainment value there. You know, there was some entertainment value. You know, I'm complaining that there weren't any finishes, but this is what we're here for. We're here to see finishes. Like Dana White tried to make Power Slap because people want to see people get knocked out. Like I want to see someone get submitted. I want to see someone get knocked out. You know, that's why I watch the sport, and I'm happy to see a dominant decision performance every now and again, or more often than not, because you know that is the more likely outcome the majority of the time. But yeah, I just need a bit more. I just need a bit more oomph from the UFC. It's well, come on, guys. Can we get a bit of something going on? Anyway, I mean, maybe the finish bonus isn't enough incentive for the majority of fighters. It seems, you know, it's a shame. It's a shame. Anyway, enough of that. We'll move on. So the next fight was Michelle Montague versus Mayra Bruno-Silva. I said going into this that in the prediction video that Michelle Montague would win, probably by a decision. I did say that Mayra Bruno-Silva is terrible, and then I said, you know what? Mayra Bruno-Silva is so terrible, Michelle Montague could actually get a finish here. But I was wrong. I digest. I was wrong. Michelle Montague gets the decision victory. Listen, anyone can win a decision over Mayra Bruno-Silva. She's not that good. She's literally just not that good. I said this in the prediction. This is a give me fight of any give me fight. Look at all those red blips over here. Look at all these. What is that? We haven't won a fight. We haven't won a fight since 2023. You know? Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? So yeah, easy win for Michelle Montague. It's actually embarrassing that Michelle Montague didn't manage to actually finish Mayra Bruno-Silva. Actually, like why didn't you finish her? Anyway, still a decent performance from Michelle Montague. Standard performance from Mayra Bruno-Silva. She's literally here just so people can beat her up. So she did her job great. You know, give her a due. She did her job great. She was an excellent punching bag. But yeah, Michelle Montague gets it done. Again, lackluster in my opinion. I think Michelle Montague should finish a fighter of the caliber of Mayra Bruno-Silva. She just should. Like, she should be finishing that fight. She should be knocking that girl out. She should be submitting that girl. Which, you know, I know Mayra Bruno-Silva isn't like a pushover. Like, she's not good, and she's in the women's divisions. So like, not good and in the women's divisions really isn't good. Oh, my dog's gonna want to try and escape now after just coming in here. Give me just a moment. I return. My apologies. Yeah, we should be seeing more from Michelle Montague. We should be seeing her getting a finish over a fighter the caliber of Mayra Bruno-Silva. And I don't want to disrespect Mayra Bruno-Silva too much. Like, she's in the UFC. Like, she's got some talent. Like, she's not like, she'll go to a decision, clearly. But yeah, we should be seeing the likes of Michelle Montague really getting a finish over Mayra Bruno-Silva. And the fact that we didn't see that happen is a little bit of a worry for the longevity of Michelle Montague. But we'll move on. Next fight was Jackson McVeigh versus Cedric Dumas. We went with Jackson McVeigh, I do believe. I think we went with Jackson McVeigh. Yeah, I do believe we went with Jackson McVeigh for this one as well. So I think we've done pretty good on the pick so far. We got upset by Cody Durden. For everything else so far went according to plan. Maybe not completely to plan, actually. We didn't get the knockout or the finish that we thought we were going to get from Francis Marshall or Victor Venezuela. But you know what? we're doing pretty good on these picks. So we had Jackson McVeigh, one of the only two finishes of the night against Cedric Dumas. Yeah, you know what? It was all right. Traded some shots back and forth. Jackson McVeigh kind of just runs away with it the second it hits the ground, and Cedric Dumas just kind of doesn't have an answer for it. Yeah, I mean, I make the joke all the time that Cedric Dumas's fight IQ isn't very good. We know Cedric Dumas, but yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's not much to say about it because it was a quick fight. Decent back and forth in the stand up. To be fair, Cedric Dumas looked like he might have had a method to victory. You know, he was when he was trying to stay at range. But Jackson McVeigh just kind of imposed himself, just kind of imposed his will, and just made it his fight. Didn't really let Cedric Dumas have a moment to kind of set his own tempo or get himself comfortable. It was just go from the bell. And that's good. That's how we get finishes. So yeah, Jackson McVeigh manages to get the Darce choke finish on Cedric Dumas, who just kind of let it happen again. But Cedric Dumas is known for this because he's, Cedric Dumas. Low fight IQ. Cedric Dumas. I mean, yeah. So Jackson McVeigh gets it done. He gets a performance of the night bonus. Pretty good. Obviously, the finishing bonuses and whatnot. I don't know how much money he walks away with, but I'm assuming it's a little bit better than he was expecting based on that. But that's just how it be. Right, so now we move on to where I think I get derailed. So we were wrong about Filho and Durden on the picks, and then we come up here and we thought Rodolfo Vieira was going to win this fight as well, but no, Eric McConaughey gets it done. You win some, you lose some at the end of the day. Actually, a decent performance from Eric McConaughey. I wasn't expecting it, but another one of those fights where it goes to a decision. It was interesting to see. It was interesting to see. I mean, I thought we'd get a bit more of like an imposing ground game. Like a bit more go from Rodolfo Vieira. We really did. We thought we were going to get a bit more oomph, a bit more go, but no, we didn't. And Eric McConaughey just kind of controlled the fight on the feet, and didn't let Rodolfo Vieira really set up anything on the ground at all. Like, just kind of shut it out, stay safe, get back up, carry on scrapping, try and keep Vieira away from you. For the whole fight, pretty much. It was decent. Again, wasn't the most entertaining of scraps in the entire world, especially because it's sitting like just before that we have the Jackson McVeigh submission over Cedric Dumas, and it was decent little submission finish. Get one of them fights finished early, nice finish as well, pretty good. We're happy with that. Then we have Eric McConaughey versus Rodolfo Vieira, and we just don't really see Vieira pushing hard enough. We don't really see Vieira going out there and trying to change the pace of the fight or make something happen. And Eric McConaughey kind of gets ahead and stays ahead and doesn't lose his cool in any kind of situation where Vieira is threatening. Eric McConaughey keeps his cool and prevails and seems to look better and more well-rounded than Rodolfo Vieira. So Eric McConaughey gets it done over Rodolfo Vieira by a decision. Again, not one of the most entertaining fights I've ever seen. I'm just being real with you. It just wasn't. It was not the most entertaining fight in the world. Sorry. Just keeping it real. Just keeping it real with you. But Eric McConaughey gets it done. Unanimous decision. We did have Rodolfo Vieira. You win some, you lose. You can't win them all. You can't win them all. The next fight was Ryan Spann versus Marcus Buchecha. We went with Marcus Buchecha. Again, we were thinking a bit more of a grappling game, but nah, Ryan Spann said not a chance. There was a little bit of grappling in round one. There was, but Ryan Spann kept us cool. We get into round two, we're back on the feet again, and we keep it on the feet. And Ryan Spann's doing some good work, man. He was getting that jab right on the button, and it was setting up everything else pretty much. It was good, man. And you know what? Weird combination as well to finish it, but he was just being different, man. Just being different with his strikes, like being unconventional. Just picking some unique strike patterns. And I think just playing on the fact that Buchecha's striking game is limited in that sense, where he's probably expecting 1-2s, 1-2, maybe a low kick, but Ryan Spann will just throw like 3-2s, you know? Bizarre. But yeah, gets it done. So not even that bizarre. Like that's the kind of shit we need to see. We need to see you taking chances, doing some risky stuff, making some decisions, making some moves. We like to see it. So Ryan Spann absolutely chins Marcus Buchecha, bonks him, man, bonks him viciously. It goes in best bit. It's in the montage at the start. I'm sure you've already seen it. Then we have next fight was Ronnie Barcelos versus Montel Jackson. I can't even remember who we picked for this. Did we go with Ronnie Barcelos? I think we did. I think we went with Ronnie Barcelos for this. Split decision as well. Close fight. Boring fight as well, though, to be honest with you. Again, not something to write home about. Not a split decision because both guys fought their asses off and they went to war, you know? Not because of that. Just because there was very little action for the majority of the fight and it was a bit of a snooze fest, to be honest with you. But, you know, again, they can't all be bangers. It's this card's gotten a better response than last week's card, which was like, I think, more entertaining. Actually, it was a boring card, but it was more entertaining than this one. That's about to change, though. Don't worry, it's about to change. Okay, bear with me here. We'll just finish Ronnie Barcelos and Montel Jackson, and then we'll get to the good stuff. But yeah, again, both guys not really doing enough to make it clear. A lot of just looking at each other. Again, like too many of these fights these days are just two guys being like, "Are you going to do something? Are you going to do something? Because I want to counter you. Are you going to do something? Because I want to counter you. Well, I want to counter you. Well, I want to counter you. Just fucking throw something, guys. Throw something that isn't a jab and a low kick, please. Please. Stop kicking calves and throwing jabs. Let's do a bit more. Let's use them to set things up. And then you'll have a guy who's like jabbing and calf kicking the whole fight. And then he'll just start throwing like a naked uppercut. And it's like, of course that's not going to work because you didn't use the jab and the low kick to... What? Anyway. Enough with my frustrations. Bit of a meh fight. Ronnie Barcelos gets the win. I think fair enough, but I'm biased because I'm fairly sure I picked Ronnie Barcelos. Thinking about it a little bit harder. So, yeah, I could see arguments for Montel Jackson, but I'll take it. I'm not gonna talk myself out of a win, you know. I'm not gonna do that. That's crazy. It's silly stuff. Okay. Now it's time to talk about a banging fight. Davey Grant versus Adrian Luna Martinetti. Davey Grant, man. Davey Grant is the GOAT. Davey Grant still got it. Davey Grant at the ripe old age of 40. Those are some ripe grapes right there, buddy. Coming in looking like some sort of skeletal creature, some sort of little goblin creature. Comes in and just puts a beating on Adrian Luna Martinetti. Just puts a beating on him from start to finish as well. There was a couple of moments where Martinetti landed a couple of strikes, maybe like a 3-punch combination, maybe a spinning move, but Davey Grant just ate that shit and kept coming forward. He just ate that shit and kept coming forward. Davey Grant, man. Davey Grant just being absolutely, just throwing everything, including the kitchen sink. Everything and the kitchen sink. Just unorthodox strikes from all angles, mixing it up, showing everyone who just came before. All these guys that let fights just go to a decision and let fights slip through the fingers throughout this entire card, excluding Ryan Spann and Jackson McVeigh. Like, Davey Grant didn't get the finish, fair enough, but he showed just push the pressure, just keep them guessing, man. Just be elusive, just be unorthodox, and it'll get you so much further. And that's what he was doing. He was just throwing all manner of strikes, crazy combinations, just keeping Martinetti guessing from start to finish, overloading the senses of Martinetti from start to finish, throwing a 1-2 and then just sweeping the legs, you know, over and over again, just abusing Martinetti and making it look easy despite his age. But yeah, I feel like a lot of these younger guys need to take a leaf out of Davey Grant's book, man. I know he didn't get a finish, but it wasn't through lack of trying. Like, he just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And Martinetti, again, a lot younger than Davey Grant. Davey Grant probably shouldn't be performing as well as he is at this age, but that's the thing. No one else will push like a Davey Grant. There's a lot of fighters in the UFC that just don't have the drive. That there's like two halves of every division. There's the guys that are more marketable but don't fight as hard, and then there are guys that fight their asses off and that are probably less marketable. That's what it feels like. And sometimes you get some crossover between those two, but on the whole, that's kind of like what it is. You have the guys that won't push for a finish, and then you have the guys that will. And sometimes the guys that don't push get a finish, and sometimes the guys that do don't. But you can definitely see the difference in their output. And I don't think the UFC rewards the guys like a Davey Grant as much, and maybe they don't get the finish, but they push hard. So yeah, it's good to see Davey Grant getting fight of the night as well. So yeah, another he's always entertaining as Davey Grant. But yeah, love to see it. Davey Grant gets another win, and I think so far we've gotten 3 fights wrong on the card, which isn't amazing, but Davey Grant gets us another win. So we'll take that. Thank you very much, Davey Grant, the GOAT, the OG. Oh, Davey Grant, what a champion. Next fight was Rafa Garcia versus Alexander Hernandez. We got this one wrong. We were going to go with Alexander Hernandez. We were wrong. Like, just straight up, we were wrong. Yeah, it was a lot closer of a fight than I was expecting it to be. Maybe I should have given more credit to Rafa Garcia going into this than I did. Maybe I overlooked him a little bit too much. But yeah, you win some, you lose some, as I've said 3 times in this video already. You win some, you lose some. Rafa Garcia played the game. Again, you know what? This was an entertaining fight with both guys pushed. It was entertaining. There was entertainment value in this fight, despite the fact that it went to a decision. Look, again, it's another one of them situations where both guys, both Rafa and Alexander Hernandez, pushed from start to finish, trying to make a difference in that fight. If Davey Grant hadn't been before it, I could see Rafa Garcia and Alexander Hernandez possibly getting some sort of performance money, because both guys did work hard, just not as hard as Davey Grant did. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. Like, there was entertainment value there. It was a good back and forth. Rafa Garcia, I think, just did just enough to stay ahead of Alexander Hernandez, which was, it was good to see. I think Alexander Hernandez doesn't really come up with this kind of the kind of adversity where someone is dangling the win. So there you go. So an Austin Hubbard, for example, maybe a Kurt Holobar, where winning that round is within reach, and you just need to push a little bit more, and we just need to find a way to do something else to kind of win the points, to win this round and level this round out a bit more. And he just doesn't seem to be able. He knows he needs to do it, but he just doesn't seem to be able to, with the urgency, maybe with the panic, he just doesn't seem to be able to put it together. But Rafa Garcia actually seemed fairly composed. Not the slightest bit put out by anything, really. Anything that came from Hernandez. So yeah, so I think, realistically, I just overlooked Rafa Garcia for no reason. I just thought, yeah, we'll go with Anthony Hernandez. So a bit of a strange one, but I suppose that's just my own hubris and overthinking it. But you know what? Sometimes you talk yourself out of a good decision, and Rafa Garcia proves me wrong and gets the victory over Alexander Hernandez, much to my chagrin. Next fight was Jocelyn Edwards versus Norma Dumont. We went with Jocelyn Edwards. I feel like a lot of people were picking Norma Dumont. I feel like the majority were picking Norma Dumont. Yeah, they were. When are you going to learn? Okay? That the Queen Jocelyn Edwards, okay? Queen Jocelyn Edwards is coming. I seen people in the build-up saying that Jocelyn Edwards, listen, she's getting finishes, but the level of opponent she's facing just isn't near the caliber of Norma Dumont. And it's like, sorry, what? My apologies, what? Norma Dumont. Right, Norma Dumont. Okay, let's take a look here. Split decision, unanimous decision. So yeah, Norma Dumont's pretty good at being a decision merchant. She's not ready. I said this in the prediction video. She's not ready for the aggression, for the power of Jocelyn Edwards. She's just not ready for it. She's not. And I was thinking Norma Dumont would get knocked out by Jocelyn Edwards because of this. But you know what? Norma Dumont is good, and she managed to hang in there, and she didn't really leave herself with any crazy openings. And so perhaps maybe people were right, and that in thinking that Norma Dumont was a higher level of opponent than what Jocelyn Edwards has faced before. I suppose that's true, but at the same time, it's at the same time, Jocelyn Edwards is actually finishing people. You know? Like, actually finishing people. Chelsea Chandler, fair enough. Okay? We don't put a lot of stake in her knocking out Chelsea Chandler. Fair enough. But Nora Canol, decent finish. It was a choke, but decent finish to be finishing Nora Canol. Decent. Dropped her first as well. Dropped her before going for the submission. You know? Cachoeira, again, I suppose, not the most amazing caliber of opponent. But still, Norma Dumont would take her to a decision. So yeah, so I just feel like, again, it was one of those situations where, sure, maybe people are right where Norma Dumont is more skilled than a Jocelyn Edwards. Maybe you're right about that. Maybe Norma Dumont is better game plan, and maybe she's more well-rounded than a Jocelyn Edwards. All this can be true, but if she's not willing to push, like a Jocelyn Edwards, like a Rafa Garcia, like a Davey Grant, then she's just not gonna. She's gonna come across people that aren't as skilled as her, and she's gonna get walked over. And that's what we were predicting. I thought that Jocelyn Edwards was gonna get her with a head kick. I did, but she didn't even need to. She didn't even need to. Like, just made it look easy against Norma Dumont, if we're being honest with you. And the amount of people that were picking Norma Dumont just based on, oh, Norma Dumont's fought way better people. She can't even finish people. Like, come on. What are we talking about? If you were watching, this is the thing though, because if it was dudes and we were looking at, like, I don't know, some guy who's just knocked out fucking 4 people, just got 4 finishes in a row, right? Back to back finishes, 4 in a row, and he's coming up against the guy who's, you know, in the top 10, been doing pretty good recently, gets a lot of decisions, but, you know, is looking pretty safe in those fights. And then you match them up and everyone's like, oh yeah, but he's gonna get knocked out by this guy. But because it was a women's fight, everyone was like, no, Norma Dumont. Norma Dumont. I look at her ass on Twitter, Norma Dumont. And then anyway, fucking, not to make it about that anyway, but Norma Dumont got fucking ass mogged anyway by Jocelyn Edwards. So you're all fucking wrong on that as well, because Jocelyn Edwards had a way finer ass. I'm just being real. We're just being real. She got ass mogged and then she got beaten up. Simple as that. On to the next one. Jocelyn Edwards, the GOAT. So glad we picked her. Main event. The main event. Yusuf Zalal versus Aljamain Sterling. We went with Yusuf Zalal. We thought that Aljamain Sterling's race was run. He surprised me, man. He did. He was just better everywhere. Like, hands down, just better everywhere. Championship experience. Like, you could see the levels in the game. There's just levels to this, man. There's just levels to this. Okay? Aljamain Sterling didn't look really put out at any point. And it just seemed like Yusuf? That is his name. I don't know what I was going to say instead. Yusuf? I don't know. Yusuf Zalal. That's his name. It just seemed like Zalal couldn't really find an answer to anything. Like, he was trying to, and it just seemed like it broke down to Yusuf Zalal just trying to survive long enough, again, to find an opening, and Aljamain Sterling was just creating openings, and he ended up on the back a few times. There was a point where I think maybe it was round 2 or 3, maybe it was later on in the fight, I can't remember. I feel like it was round 2 or 3 where Aljamain Sterling was on the back of Yusuf Zalal, was on his back, was pretty close to getting the choke, but Yusuf Zalal just kind of stuck his toes in the fence and walked away and like walked out of position, and the ref just kind of let it happen. So that makes me think that maybe they were trying to rig this one against Aljo a little bit. You'll notice little things sometimes when you're watching these, and you're like, you know what? The UFC is trying to build Yusuf Zalal off of Aljamain Sterling. Like, Yusuf Zalal is supposed to be the next this next upcomer. Aljamain Sterling's not marketable. Like, there was a lot of hate for Aljo in this build-up, and I don't hate Aljo, I don't, but I could see the hate for Aljo. Like, there was a lot of Aljo hatred going into this fight. Like, yeah, maybe unjustified, maybe unwarranted. I know he's not the most entertaining of fighters, but at least he's consistent, and it's not like he doesn't try and get submissions. Like, he'll spend the whole fight on someone's back trying to get to the neck, and he just can't get to it because, you know, all you've got to worry about is protecting the neck, because he's not going to be able to knock you out. It's Aljo. But yeah, that's just how it be. And Aljamain Sterling was correct. Going into this fight, 5-round experience was a lot for Aljamain Sterling in this fight. Yusuf Zalal definitely looked like a fish out of water in rounds 4 and 5. And he didn't even look particularly amazing in 1, 2, and 3 either. It's just he looked sufficiently more tired and out of his depth in 4 and 5 against Aljo, who looked calm, cool, composed throughout the entire fight. Made it look easy against Yusuf Zalal. So I think that's a back to the drawing board for Yusuf Zalal right there. And Aljamain Sterling gets it done. I don't know what the future is going to be like for Aljamain Sterling here. I don't even know what we do with him next, to be honest with you. I think it's hard to market him. I really do. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what they do. But I think that does conclude this recap. Forgot what day it was. It's Sunday. But yeah, I think that does conclude this recap. So thank you very much for watching Best Bits. If you enjoyed it, leave me a like. Subscribe for more. I do these fairly regularly, pretty much every week. But yeah, until next time, keep your chin down and keep swinging. Peace and love. I'll see you around.